Ladies and gentlemen, here we go for game number 1 between Kiwikaki and Socke. Both these players going to be pitted together on our good old map, NASL Metalopolis.
Hey man, we came from the TVZ, now we're going into PvP.
Headshot.
Bringing in that race that we didn't get to see in those last matches. We're going to see plenty of it here, Protoss versus Protoss. And this matchup has actually been getting more and more exciting. Of course, I feel like the way it's been developing since the beginning of this game, you know, at the beginning of beta, PvP was like a joke. Everybody just two-gated each other, right? And then everybody started just like proxy stargating each other and sniping cyber cores. And then it became just 4-gate versus 4-gate pretty much all the time. And but it's been actually evolving out of that. We saw even in the past people start working in builds like Blink, 3-gate Robo, etc. And now it's gotten even easier, and a lot of players are starting to just go for full tech, full economy builds that are really interesting to see, since we haven't been able to see that in the past.
Yeah, it's cool. These players can actually sprint up to Colossus pretty easily now, or sprint up to Blinkstalker or something like that. Even Archons or something, knowing that they have the sentries at home. And it's interesting as well because you don't even have to make sentries. You could be like, oh, well, you're pressuring me? Warp in sentry, and then I force field, and then I just wait a little bit, warp in another sentry, force field, and you can just do it like that. You don't even have to defend right away. That's what makes it so much more interesting. So a lot of these players are just playing a lot more future-oriented. That's something that we always like to see in StarCraft 2. Yeah,
and you know, both of these players are such smart players. I'm super interested to see how they're going to be adapting their play. Immediately, we already see a change, of course. Neither player going for that 12-gate. They're both going up to 13. So, I mean, that's completely changed. It used to be you had to go for that 12-gate to make sure you get that 4-gate up. You'd have your warp gate timing up a little bit earlier, that earlier Stalker as well, as fast as humanly possible. Now, of course, players are able to just play it a little bit safer, a little bit more economically focused, and not cut probes at all. But, I mean, I feel like Kiwikaki is a player that he's got so many options available to him, and he just pulls out so many strange builds that you've never seen before, that Socke has got to be a little bit worried right now. I mean, this Kiwikaki is just a player that is very difficult to go up against.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, someone once asked me, okay, so what do you think Kiwikaki is going to do in this game? And I said, God, that's like, I don't even know. That's trying to, like, predict a Dungeons and Dragons dice roll. It's, like, really crazy. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. You get that 20, he gets the critical hit. All of a sudden, the 2 Immortals drop down. The Zealots get around him, man. You can't get that. What are you going to get, like +3 to Intellect or something? You're not going to beat that with Intellect, man.
Now you're just getting crazy.
Not at all.
Now you're just getting crazy. Nevertheless, Kiwikaki, what I was trying to say is he's so hard to predict because the range of builds we've seen from him, even from cheeses to standard play, whatever he does, he just... It's just out there. No one does it. It's not a standard in anybody's book.
Yeah, somehow since like the beginning of the game, he's always come up with builds that just are never seen by anybody else. He was like one of the first people to actually use the mothership competitively in a good way that was reliable. You know, using it to recall stalkers back to his main.
Poor machine.
Yeah, seriously.
And what he would do in PvZ would blink in and just suicide all of his stalkers into one hatchery or one lair, one hive, and then you'd be like, okay, Kiwikaki, you just lost all of your stalkers. Good job. And then all of a sudden,
bam, recall.
Blinks them all back.
No,
not doesn't blink. Recalls all of them back, and just like, what the heck just happened? No, you did not, Kiwikaki.
Yeah, it's a pretty insane tactic. So he's a crazy player. He's got a lot of options available to him. That's going to make it very difficult for Socke to play against him. And I'm actually pretty surprised he put down that 2nd gate, and he's putting down a 3rd gateway right now. So maybe he's going to go for something like 3-gate expansion. Maybe he'll add on the Robo soon. But I would have expected him to drop down the Robo after the 1st gate, simply because against a player like Kiwikaki, it's going to be so unpredictable. Getting that scouting information, figuring out what he has with that observer is could be so very important. But perhaps Socke just feels so confident with this build that he's not going to fall to any type of all-in that Kiwikaki could throw at him.
Yeah, 1-gate Robo. I mean, we can also go ahead and look at the scouting of both of these players. Both of them know that they're doing the 2 gas. Now, Socke only has 4 probes mining on these gas, so he is actually doing a 3-gate pressure, I believe. That's what it normally entails, because this is very deliberate to have only 2 on each one.
Yeah.
I think what we will be seeing is all 3 of these gateways. Whoa! No, he's not being aggressive. He's going to be the exact opposite of aggressive.
Well, you know what? This is so strange. I mean, he has been throwing all of his chrono into that warp gate timing. Now he's going to throw it on a 4th gateway after he puts down that Nexus. You know, maybe he will move forward, start warping in unison with these 3 gates and move forward to be aggressive, but I think he's probably just going to use it as like a 3-gate defensive expansion. Of course, on Metalopolis, though, your natural's really wide open. There's no choke point to defend. There's just a huge amount of wide open ground, so any type of attack from Kiwikaki could catch Socke off guard here. It'd be really difficult to use force fields to his advantage, and he does have 2 sentries in this army, but except for Guardian Shield, you know, I don't think they're going to make that much of a difference. Force fields in this wide open of an area are not going to help him out that much. He does have a Twilight Council on the way, and a Forge. So perhaps Socke just going to go up to a lot of Blink Stalkers with upgrades. Yeah,
there's a lot of things he can do. He can even go for something like Charge Lots and cut all of these probes from not even mining gas and just have a very zealot-heavy army, and that's very strong, especially on a map like Metalopolis. As you said, the natural is pretty open. If he can get a lot of zealots out, he can swarm around his opponent and make something like Colossus completely useless.
Now, we actually see Socke going for the same thing. He has the Twilight Council and Forge as well, but he's going straight for Blink. We actually see that Socke went for that +1 weapons first, has not thrown out anything from that Twilight Council, doesn't really have the gas or minerals right now. Of course, he just took that expansion, but Kiwikaki looks like he's going to move forward for some aggression, and Socke could be in some trouble. There is 1 Immortal with this army moving forward. He's going to go set up some forward pylons, and of course, Socke, I mean, he's got a bunch of Stalkers. Now he's going to try to make a cannon, but of course, cannon's not going to be too effective versus Immortals, and he has so many Stalkers in here. I'm pretty worried for this unit composition of his.
Actually, I don't know who could come out on top. That 1 Immortal represents a lot of damage. Here we go. There's the Force Shields, and it's going to stop those Stalkers from doing any damage because they just get destroyed so fast. It looks like another Stalker coming up here. That Immortal is just doing wonders in this army composition.
The Immortal did an absolute insane amount of damage. Unfortunately, Socke engaging into that was not the right choice, and he did get caught off guard by those force fields. Didn't throw down any force fields of his own. Would have been a great idea. I mean, look at these 2 sentries, man. They've got 160 energy and 140 energy. It looks like Kiwikaki's getting ready to engage, but what you can do is just use those force fields to force that Immortal back so it's not attacking your Stalkers. Keep it out of range. It's so important. He's going to try to target fire down that Photon Cannon. The Immortal does so much damage. Oh, the force fields go down. He was trying to catch that Immortal, but they went down just a moment too late.
Yeah, it looks like charge is being researched for Socke, but Kiwikaki is getting Blink, and it's almost up right now with the 2nd Immortal over here. This is getting scary.
Yeah, the only way he's going to be able to hold this is if he does get that charge out and still has a lot of his zealots left over. If he has some engagement happen here before he has charge, he'll be in a lot of trouble. But look at that charge, only about 15 seconds from completion, and it's being chronoed to more like 10 seconds. And Kiwikaki's waiting so long to engage. Look how many Stalkers is in this army. This is going to be very susceptible.
There might be a Blink here, and then he could force field aside. No, he's just going to straight in for his opponent. There's the charge, and it will do a lot, but wow, there were just so many units coming out from Kiwikaki. Kiwikaki able to just blink back with all of his Stalkers that are damaged. Now finally getting into the Immortals. The 1 Immortal will go down, but I don't know. The 2nd Immortal goes down as well. Is this going to be enough?
I don't know. I don't think it will. There's just so many Stalkers with Kiwikaki. Once you get this many Stalkers, you can continuously blink individual Stalkers back. And Socke's trying to make more charge lots. I don't know if it'll be enough, though. He picks off the cannon. He definitely needs to continue being aggressive. He can't allow this Nexus to stay up and just fall back. And, well, I thought maybe that was a GG, but no, Socke just accidentally in chat, but he's still trying to micro his heart out there. Charge Zealots trying to engage, but they can't quite engage. There are just too many Blink Stalkers from Kiwikaki.
Yeah, it looks like he just keeps trying to warp in more units, but this is the thing, Kiwikaki, as soon as he gets those Zealots in there, it kind of negates that charge quite a bit. It makes the Stalkers a lot stronger, and there we go. The final battle looks like to be engaging right now. Probes being pulled offline, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Kiwikaki going to warp in more units, just blinking back all the weakened Stalkers. The Zealots can never get a good amount of damage on the same Stalker, so it makes it so difficult. Zealots are thinning out, and Socke is going to be blinked upon, loses a sentry, loses a Stalker, and that's going to be it. His whole army is demolished.
Yeah, he really doesn't have a chance right now. He tried to warp in sentries to maybe force through the ramp, but of course Kiwikaki does have Blink. He blinks straight up. There's the GG from Socke. Kiwikaki will be able to take game 1.
And Socke is going to take an early defeat here in game number 1. Kiwikaki, just the 1 base play, and this is what I'm talking about. He actually went Robo, 1 gate Robo, and then went to a Twilight Council. Just such clean play coming out of him, doing the Immortal Blink Stalker method. You know, what are your thoughts on that build in particular?
Well, Kiwikaki's build was just really standard, actually, which is not what you usually expect from Kiwikaki at all. But I think that really what that game came down to is Socke did not play the map. His build would have been fine on a different map. Like, for example, if you were on Shakira's Plateau, going for that 3-gate expansion where you use sentries for force fields can be useful. But on a map like Metalopolis, those sentries did essentially nothing at all for him. So for him to get all that early gas, delay the expansion, spend a lot of that gas on sentries and delay his tech so that charge wasn't done earlier, all those things led into just him being further and further behind when the engagement came. So, I mean, if he had either gone for a build that was more tailored to a really wide open natural like that, or just had not gone for an early expansion build on a map like Metalopolis, I feel like he would have been much better.
Well, that's one thing. I'm kind of interested why he went the early sentries. It doesn't make sense to get sentries in that point in time. You could have gotten a faster Twilight Council. You could have gotten a higher stalker count. You can look at every sentry and say, hey, that's a potential 2 stalkers. Now, there are other things that go into it, but I'm talking about the gas in particular. And when gas is so stressed in that beginning stage, it's really weird that he goes for those sentries. Maybe he's just like, oh, I want to use the gateways, but I also want to get an expansion, and the sentries are the cheapest things in terms of minerals. Absolutely. But still, I feel like the overall cohesion of the build doesn't go, or the cohesion with the units made doesn't go with the entire build that was done. Yeah,
I mean, I think maybe the reason he did that was because he just wanted them to be building up energy all game. That's why he made them so early on.
It could be.
But it really just didn't work out for him. There unfortunately wasn't a single time that game where he had effective force fields that helped his army. So,
but let's also put it there for Kiwikaki. He did an awesome amount of micro at that end game stage. It was probably like 2-3 minutes straight of micro, and he looked phenomenal.
Of course.
Yep. So we're gonna go into game number 2. See if Kiwikaki can do it again, or Socke can come back into this. We're gonna head over to Antigua Shipyard. Join us there in a little bit.